All right, call the Tuesday, November 21st, 2023 meeting of the Wethersfield Planning and Zoning Commission to order. Ask the Vice Chair to take the roll.
Absolutely. Chairman Roberts?
Here.
I am here. Chairman, Clerk Hamer?
Nope.
Commissioner Deane? Commissioner Drake?
Here.
Commissioner Edwards? Here. Commissioner Homicki? Mr. Hughes? Mr. Oracle? Oh, boy. Mr. Okolani?
Here.
Apologies for that. Commissioner Lambruni?
Here.
Commissioner Thompson?
Here.
All right, so we have 4 regular members and 3 alternates. I'll seat all the alternates unless there's a sudden crowd of regular members rushing into the room. We have 4 public hearings tonight, one of which is being continued. The way the public hearings work is we have the applicant come up, make their presentation, identify themselves by the name and address for the record, tell us what it is they want to do. The commission will ask questions. Following that, we'll open it up to members of the public who wish to speak on the application. Following that, we'll call the applicant back up to respond to any public comment, and there may be additional comments or questions from the commission members at that point. If when we get to that point in the proceeding, the commission believes we have enough information to make a decision on the application, we'll vote to close the public hearing, deliberate, and then vote. If for some reason, there's still open issues or additional information that we need, we may continue the public hearing. If anybody wants to come up and speak, they're welcome to. Please come up to speak from the microphone here. Identify yourself by name and address for the record, just so that we know who you are, and address your comments to the commission rather than to the audience or to the applicant or anyone else. So with that, we will pick up, and in case anyone here is for the self-storage facility on the Berlin Turnpike, that hearing has been continued to December 5th, 2023 at the request of the applicant, so you don't have to sit here and wait to talk about that. First item under old business is public hearing 2161 23Z. Jaimin Patel seeking a special permit in accordance with Section 5.8 alcoholic beverages of the Wethersfield Zoning Commission to operate a liquor store at 898 904 Silas Deane Highway. So I'd ask the applicant if he wants to come up and continue the presentation from last time.
My name is Jaimin Patel. I live at the 1 Harvest Lane, East Granby, Connecticut. So in order to do a traffic study, they need like at least 4 to 5 weeks, and property owner says we need to reschedule, might be in the January. That's the best time that at least we get a time to do a traffic study.
Okay. So are you asking that we can keep the hearing open? Well, we can keep the hearing open for 35 days unless he gives extensions of 65 days.
I know that you have 65 days to act if they close the public hearing, that he's allowed 65-day extension of that to act. I don't know if he...
No, he's allowed 65 days of extensions at any point during the process. So, if you want to grant an extension to what would be our first meeting in January, it'd be the first Wednesday. I don't know if my phone goes that high. January 3rd. Would you want January 3rd or January 17th?
I think the 17th will be good, in case if they need the more time,
Okay. So you're granting an extension to continue the hearing from November 21st to January 17th.
Okay.
And you follow up with him to get that in writing, because I think that uses up pretty much all of the available extension days.
Okay.
You need to get that to me in writing.
In writing? Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Does anybody have any questions or comments about that? All right. If not, somebody want to make a motion to continue the hearing on 216123 to, what was it, January 17th?
I'll second.
All right. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you. All right, as I mentioned, so we're not going to take any testimony on that. We're not going to discuss it tonight. We'll pick it up January 17th. Next item, 2.2, public hearing 216223Z, BDC Holdings, has been continued to December 5th, 2023 at the request of the applicant. So the next item is public hearing 216323Z, should be P. Danielle LLC seeking a subdivision in accordance with the Wethersfield Zoning Regulations and Article 2 of the Subdivision Regulations for creation of 3 lots at 248 Nott Street. All right, before we start that, do we want to take a vote to continue 216223Z to December 5th?
So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, go ahead.
Good evening, Frank Citino, 387 Wells Road. I'm here for Nott Street. As a result of an oversight, the Mylars were not filed within the 90-day period. I take full responsibility. I was unaware of it, but I take responsibility for that. So we're back to square one. Nothing has changed on what was approved with the prior commission. The drawings are identical, the plan is identical. So I really have nothing other to add than if we can refer back to the previous approval.
All right, some of the people here weren't here 2 years ago, so if you can kind of go over
Of
what it
course.
is you want to
Yes,
do.
that's fine.
You don't need to,
It's,
you don't need to go through how we got here.
that's fine.
Just tell us what it is that
Fair
you're
enough,
proposing
fair
to do.
enough. So Nott Street has an existing structure, which is unrepairable. We're going to remove it, construct 2 single-family houses and 1 3-family house. Each single-family house will be 1,800 square feet. The 2-family house will be a total of 2,400 square feet, 3 bedrooms each, so for a total of 6 bedrooms. We've exceeded the parking spaces required by the zoning commission. We're spending additional funds to do paver driveways, not blacktop driveways. And I believe the property will be an enhancement to the neighborhood. We meet every zoning requirement. There are no conditions. I will add that the town asked that we convey to them a certain number of linear footage. I believe it was 10 feet for future road improvements. We obliged. They're happy to have that if it's going to improve the conditions of Nott Street. Other than that, I have nothing to add, really.
Did you get the staff memo from the town engineer
I
dated
did.
November 15th that has 4 comments on it?
I did, yes.
Okay, you didn't have a problem with any of those?
I spoke to Derek. The item referring to the wetlands is already noted on the drawing. I spoke to the surveyor. We have to revise the dates for completion. That is the only one caveat. I want everyone to understand why the property didn't take place, why the project didn't move forward. Costs were astronomical, and the market was a frenzy. If you asked 3, you got 350, you got 375. Being in the business for 40 years, in my mind, I saw the end coming. It's not normal for that market to take place. The market has subsided. We may go down a little bit, I don't think we're going up anymore, but I did not want to build in that environment for cost and the frenzy. I got caught in that once before. That is why I did not build. Now we're ready to build.
All right,
So all comments are,
so what?
we're good with all comments then?
Pardon?
We're good with all comments?
Yes, yeah, we're fine, those are fine.
All right. Go ahead.
Yeah. Frank, one thing I forgot to put in the, my comments to, was the fact that at the last April, whenever, when we got approval in '22, there was some discussion, there was a lot of discussion, I should say, about the parking lot.
Correct.
And
We're switching that,
yeah,
so it's not on the
But
neighbor's
that's-
side. Yes.
and what I'm going to be recommending to the board, if they see fit to approve this, to include that in the approval again.
I thought, if it wasn't there, I thought it was, but no.
It's not there.
Yeah, absolutely, we're switching. The neighbor had a concern with the lights on her property, so we were going to flip the property and have the parking spaces on the south side,
South side.
as opposed to the north side. Absolutely.
Yeah, I remember we did have a lot of discussion about that.
Yep.
All right. Anything else from anybody on the commission? All right.
Thank you very much.
If not, is there anybody in the public who wants to comment on this application? Anybody? Come on up. Just please give us your name and address for the record.
I'm Elizabeth Pirro, 35 Flower Street, the former Jeffrey Altry property. Mr. Cetino's property is behind mine, and he did agree to flip the house in the parking lot, which is good. I am concerned, though, about the destruction of my trees and shrubs that are right along the property line. And I had asked him in April to put a barrier up or something so that heavy equipment wouldn't be on the roots of, under the canopies of those trees. And so I'm asking for that again. That was not decided. I think it was kind of brushed off.
May I ask one question?
Yeah.
Are the trees on your property that you're talking about?
Yes.
Or
But I would like him to not park his equipment under the canopy of my trees, and to have some kind of a barricade so that the people doing the work and operating the heavy equipment would understand not to park there. I have had a couple of houses built before, and I lost it was the oldest dogwood in Leesburg, Virginia, because of this, so I am experienced. And at the last meeting, Mr. Cetino said that he would post a bond until the work is completed. But trees don't die right away, they die over the next few years. So that would not make sense. It would be better to just not let the damage happen in the first place.
Is it possible to set a setback for a limit of disturbance? I don't know what the plot plan, like what the actual disturbance of the building is since it's flipped, because have we seen those plans?
Well, it would depend on where I realize they may have to operate the equipment. I think more of a problem would be having heavy equipment sitting there and crushing roots.
So my question is, we're looking at plans that have the building on the south side, parking lot on the north side, they're gonna flip that.
Right.
But they're gonna have to adhere to, I assume, some setbacks,
Setbacks, yeah.
which would be on the side yard, that's a side yard, so whatever those setbacks would be, maybe we can set there's gonna have to be construction vehicles on the other side of that building in order to build it. But I suppose we can make sure that there's no storage on that side. It's just tricky without a construction plan.
Yeah.
It's difficult without having a drawing with the flipped
Is
house
there,
and parking lot.
how many trees are there that you're talking about?
It's trees and shrubs, but they're large, they're high, they protect my property from anything on the other side. And
Just say
they're,
that
and
you're
they're
gonna be better off,
attractive.
like, you're gonna be better off with the flip of it, because the
Yes.
parking lot's not gonna be like right on your property line.
yes, for sure.
So, I think there's not, like, with the setback, there's not going to be a ton of room for construction equipment to exist on that side without being in the way. But I don't know what kind of stipulation we can,
Well, and also, there are 3 houses being built. I don't know which will be built first, second, and third, and where the equipment would be parked while the others are being built, so.
they submit like a temporary staging area.
I doubt it, but I think we can address that. Oh, you get ones that you can read.
I'm the old guy, so I get,
Yeah,
I need
You
that.
know, we get the postage stamps.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
so yeah, that's where she is,
30,
35, she is.
35,
Yeah, she's ready.
yeah.
Is it possible to do like a blanket sort of 10-foot offset for any staging areas, laid out areas from that property line?
What is the offset?
Yeah, we don't know that.
Yeah,
is
oh, you
the
don't-
thing.
okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, the required
Well, we don't know
setback,
where the building's gonna be.
The required setback would be 10 or 5 feet. It's 5 feet, but a combination of side yard would be total 15, so.
Okay.
So he's got 10 on, he's got 10 feet on, I believe, on the north side. But that's, again, when he flips it, he's not on
So if we would just say like a staging area cannot extend beyond the
the required.
perimeter of the building that's gonna be constructed or something, like staging, like lay down areas, like storage for long-term, not necessarily construction equipment during activity.
Rich, can we ask the developer if he could possibly just not drive equipment within 5 feet of her property?
yeah, we can do
Side,
that.
see if that's, you know.
Yeah, I mean, the public hearing's still open, so we can ask that. And if we don't like the answer, we can say that.
But I think 5 feet would be enough, just don't want to bulldoze of 5 feet within a yard. I don't know.
That's the minimum yard requirement, so he should.
Yeah, they show
He's showing
10
10 feet.
10-foot side yard.
Side yard on this, but yeah, that's where he had the parking, so that's the side that he's gonna put the building on now, where the 10 feet was.
Rich,
Yeah,
that's the question.
sure.
How big are the trees and how far does the canopy go, come over the property line?
I don't know exactly where the property line is. There's one marker, and then there is not one on, on the other side of my property.
Are they big?
They're not big maple oak type trees, no. They're a combination of trees and shrubs that are very pretty from my perspective. And they also give me privacy.
If they're shrubs,
They're not all,
the
they're
root
both.
ball is very, very narrow.
Uh-huh.
So I don't think that's an issue, but if it's,
There's a fir tree there, and there's another tree I don't know.
if it's a large tree with a large canopy, then it could extend even further than his legal right to go 10 feet. So it's kind of hard for me to understand your request, and I know exactly what kind of trees you have there. Because it may not be an issue, is what I'm saying.
It's an issue. It is an issue. I mean, there's no guarantee it would kill my trees, but
But the root walls only go so far.
Right.
It's not the root wall, it's the canopy. The roots go as far as the canopy.
Does the canopy go
And sometimes
over
more.
beyond the 10 feet that is legally allowed to build, is my question.
Until now, I didn't even know it was 10 feet, so I don't know. Could you give me that 10 feet?
What's that?
Can you give me that 10 feet? Can
When you
you?
have the 10 feet, you can't build it within the 10 feet.
No, but I mean to park his heavy equipment to,
It depends where he puts his foundation. You may have to, get close to that. I mean, it's up to the developer to tell us where he's gonna site the building. It doesn't show where he's gonna site the building.
right.
Maybe we should just ask him where he's gonna site the building.
Setbacks.
Well, but there are 3 houses being built, so that heavy equipment that's needed is going to be there for quite a while, and it's going to be parked somewhere. So I'm just asking that it not be parked within those 10 feet. Is that possible?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
That's like,
Okay.
because limits of disturbance versus lay down and storage and construction parking, like, that's a totally different animal. So I think in terms of where heavy equipment would be stored or materials, like stockpile areas or anything like that, like, I think we can come up with something that is agreeable on all sides that would keep that at least 10 feet off of your, or whatever we decide off of your property that would be outside of the disturbance area.
Okay.
yeah.
I think that's
The
common.
only issue is.
That's
if it-
common in every construction.
Yeah, but the only issue is if he's building a foundation right up against that 10 feet.
We're talking long-term stockpile, like
Yeah, I
construction
understand.
equipment,
But
parking.
But if
and
he's
stuff.
gonna be building along that 10 foot, he's gonna bring equipment to dig the foundation there.
That's disturbance versus storage.
Yeah.
We're saying no storage.
She's asking that they not park the bulldozers on her property line.
Short-term.
You know, when they're
disturbance.
done and they go home for the weekend and that kind of stuff.
Somebody
I mean, he-
drives a truck or a tractor or
He
something
can
over,
build within the
it's fine.
setbacks, but we just don't
What I'm
want to have.
saying is, if he's gonna be building within the 10 feet, he's gonna disturb the root ball, and it's gonna be a problem anyways, regardless. That's what I'm saying.
We can only do what we can do. We can only do what we can do with this.
That's all I'm
What we
saying.
want. We
Thank
can
you.
write a specification that says, don't disturb the root ball.
It's just-
It won't work.
Yeah, well, it's impossible.
All right.
Yeah,
Thanks.
okay, thank you. Anybody else in the public want to comment on this application? Come on up.
Evening. My name is Diva DeBella. I currently live at 192 Wocket Hill Road. I am the first property that borders Mr. Satino's property on Wocket Hill behind him. I just kind of want to make sure I'm on the same page as you. I couldn't quite hear in the back, which is my fault. I should have sat closer. The plans you have now show the parking lot still being right up against my fence line, but it is switched. So it's going to be approved that way with the parking in the middle.
Correct.
Yes.
And like 6 months from now or a year from now, that can't like randomly change for any reason, can it?
Not without a public hearing,
Okay, I'm just making sure that I understand, that's all.
yes.
Last time we were here, I had thrown out the idea of having like a landscape buffer between the properties that he's putting up and my property, just because that's my bedroom side of my house. I don't know if that is still a thing, so I was just gonna double check on that.
I don't know, was that one of the conditions or?
No, it wasn't a condition. We're getting into an area, this is a re-subdivision application. We're really approving just the division of the property. Some of these items come up when he's obligated to show us that each lot can accommodate what he wants to do. And it's not necessarily that's the way he's obligated to do, but you can also say, you know, that a buffer, or like we just said with the other item, that's gonna be flipped, because that'll be right on the right on the subdivision plan and anyone buying the lot would know that they can't do anything different. As far as putting a buffer in, there was some talk, I remember, and looking through I saw the discussion, and I think the applicant did mention that he was going to plant trees along, a buffer along that
Yeah.
road.
I'm happy to do it, but we'll have a discussion. They would have to go on your side and release the opinion. May I come up and, can you hear me from here? I want the comment.
Come up here.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with the buffer, but when we flip the house, it's 5 and 10 for the setback.
Yeah.
With an aggregate of 15. So we need the space for the parking space, which requires me to take up most of that area. So the house will be 5 feet off of your property line.
5 feet away from my fence.
5 feet, if it, yes, correct. So if I were to plant trees right up along, down the road, they're gonna compromise the foundation. It's just, it's not a good idea. I have no problem planting something, but it would be best if they went on your side of the fence. Hemlocks or arborvitaes.
Something that will grow
So we
tall,
can
so I
talk
don't
about
have
that.
to see
So
that.
I don't want to do the entire property, because they become overgrown after a while. There's a maintenance that's involved there.
Which I'm very responsible with my property. I have
No, and I see. No,
maintaining
understand.
anything.
We had the issue of defense. I know what you are.
Yeah, and that was another thing I was gonna bring up.
Yes.
If my property gets damaged, I'm expecting it to get fixed.
We fixed the
first time
fence.
I
Took a while,
ask,
but we
and
fixed it.
Not 6 months and me
I
having to
got
approach
it.
the
My
landscaping
man who
company
cuts the
myself.
lawn grabbed your fence. So
And nobody responded for a while,
Yeah.
and I had to go talk to the landscaping company
So we
to
got
get my
the fence
fence
fixed.
fixed. And then 2 people
Yes.
ended up buying material for it, and then I got phone calls, and I just don't want that.
well, that I didn't know. I don't know who bought material. I bought the material. So
The landscaping company did, and then they called me on my niece's birthday
they
repetitively,
know where to go.
and I didn't do anything. So I just want to make sure those type of things don't come up.
That I had no idea, and I apologize.
Okay, I appreciate your
Fence is
apology.
fixed. So in terms of protecting, your first name is?
Liz.
In terms of protecting Liz's property, when we excavate for the foundation, we won't cast any material to that side of the property. The excavator will approach the excavator to the west northern corner, start digging there, and the material will be brought in and cast over to his left. And he works his way back, so no material goes to that side. But let me be very clear. When we excavate, we're gonna take this down 6.5, maybe 7 feet, depending on elevation. That's a lot of dirt to remove. And I only have 5 feet, I have to overdig by 2. I only have 3 feet left to the property line. So it's very important that we watch the weather. We'll excavate, we'll put a barrier to protect soil erosion. We put basically a 6 mil poly or maybe 15 mil poly along the edge so if it rains, it doesn't wash the material away. But sometimes these walls do collapse a little bit. But if we dig on Monday, on Wednesday the footing goes in. On Thursday the wall goes in. Has to sit a couple of days, 2 or 3 days. They will come in waterproof and backfill. At most a week and a half of backfill. And then we pass that danger zone. There is a risk when you do construction. I can't tell you no. I will tell you, we just did a project at the State Supreme Court on Capitol Avenue, and I had a tree that we could not damage. It was about right there, and we didn't touch the tree. So we're accustomed to this. But there are pitfalls. Sometimes we cannot avoid them. When we excavate, if we hit roots to the tree, and we excavate for the foundation, I'll be perfectly honest with you, the roots have to go. I cannot pour my concrete, it must be good virgin soil, and I can't have any organic matter inside the footing, because it grows and undermines the concrete. So there are risks to construction. I cannot tell you 100%. What I would like to do is come by and take a look. In terms of not encroaching on your trees, I don't know if I show this map, can you tell me where your trees are in relation to the house?
Probably not.
Just take a quick picture. And I would be happy to come by and take a look at it. second here. So that's your property right there, correct? So this is the back of the house. The corner is right there. If I can drop the property line. Now, the only, I have to check if I can reduce the amount of space for the parking. I don't know that I can, because we need a turnaround for the cars, and I don't want cars backing out to Walker's Hill Road. They need to be able to turn around in this area to pull out. But this corner of the house is 5 feet off the property line there. So I don't know where the trees are here. The trees are substantial. They're 5 feet off. So we can tell they're asking about the canopy. If your canopy is 30 feet out, usually your roots are 30 feet out. The roots usually, am I correct? The roots usually follow the canopy? So I can almost say that.
Most of the time, that's bigger.
Depends on what kind of tree it is.
I'm being honest with you.
I think in terms of our involvement, the only thing we can do is limit the disturbance and the laydown and where things would be stored. So, take that back, so not the disturbance, but where things are, just where things are going to be kept long-term.
Right,
So I think,
long-term.
I think it's from every conversation that you've
Yes.
been just having, it sounds like we can very easily accommodate that just by
That's-
saying,
we move
nothing
everything outside.
outside of 10 feet of your property line would we ever long-term store any sort
I
of
can say 30
equipment
feet away from
or
the property line.
materials, right?
I keep all the material in the interior of the property. There's plenty of room in between the three houses.
So then, just saying that,
Right.
I think that alleviates your concern. And then, I think we have, another, this is a little bit different with the planting and everything, but that sounds like an agreement after the fact, potentially, just to be a good neighbor.
So with that said, I will check with the surveyor and see if I can bring the house further. The line was 7-7.
Because we can't control the
6 and-
construction activity.
6
We
and
gotta
9.
make sure that.
I'll see if I can bring the house further. South. And I'll have her come by and take a look at the trees and give you a better idea. I lost a dog, but I wanted to cry on my dog.
So once you start doing that, it's all house.
I lost a dogwood in the front of my house when an ice storm had split. And I tried to tie it back together. I understand.
I do have 2 more things.
Okay.
Sorry. As of this moment, I understand things change. What is the projected start and finish date?
We're gonna do this in the spring. Now, with that said, if market conditions change, I can't control it. If tomorrow morning, the market plummets, I'm gonna grow tomatoes for a while. That I cannot control. Lumber went.
Right, Ballpark.
You would have to realize, this is my money. Lumber went from $15,000 for an 1,800 square foot house, are you ready? To $52,000 for 18. That's where lumber went. I can absorb that cost. Now, right now, the market's there to absorb the cost of construction. But if the market were to tank, and I can't absorb that in the cost of construction, I'm gonna grow tomatoes for a while. I don't
What's the construction duration proposed?
Well, when I start these.
From start to
Yeah,
finish, nothing goes wrong?
6 months altogether.
6
We're doing
months.
them simultaneously.
So
I say 6
one
months.
season, if it starts in the spring, you're done by the summer.
Oh, yeah, yes, yes.
I think
This
that's,
is, we built over 100 homes, this is relatively, not complicated.
And then as far as guest parking for his tenants, I don't really have the desire to have a bunch of people parked in front of my house. My current neighbor right now is a multi-family home. They don't park on the street, and it's just kind of a common sense thing in front of my house with the CT Transit being right there. Someone's parked in front of the house, CT Transit's going around, crossing a double yellow line to move around the vehicles. I'm also have no desire to be a landlord, and I don't want to be responsible for other people being on my property should something happen. So are they technically, can something be done about that? Can we do like a not disturbing my property at all by any means? Because I don't really want to be involved in any of the whole rental thing.
I don't really understand the question. I mean, he's not going to build anything on your property.
No,
Are you
I
talking
didn't say
about
that. As far
people
as
parking on the street?
yeah, so like as far as all his guests and stuff, if something happens, like, do I get in trouble if someone goes on my property and like gets hurt or something, even though they're not my tenants and stuff?
No, they're trespassing. I mean, that's why you have insurance.
I'm just making sure I understand. That's all. That's why
Yeah.
I'm asking.
Yeah, I mean, and where parking is or isn't allowed is something that the local traffic authority controls, not us.
Okay, just double checking, just learning.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Anybody else in the public want to comment on this application? Do you have the approval from last time so that we know what the conditions are?
All those conditions, besides the ones, besides the flipping, and besides all the other conditions were done, except for the ones that Derek, that the engineer had given us in his letter, are left over from the first one.
All right,
That's the only thing that, those are the only five, I think, what is it, four things that were not completed, but I do have those.
yeah, I mean, I guess I was just wanted to make sure that all these things that we were talking about, you know,
Right.
trees and fences and flipping and things like that, you know, if they were part of the original approval, I want to make sure that they're part of this one so that we don't have things fall through the cracks.
Okay, Rich,
Yeah.
can we better define what we mean by flipping? I mean, it's kind of a vague term. It's important, right, to know where the house is gonna be exactly, so it doesn't impede on the neighbor. Just by saying flipping, I'm not sure what controls we would have over that.
Well, I mean, as a subdivision approval, we don't really have any control over minutia like that anyway. So it would be whatever,
Do you want me to read these?
Do you have some language, Tom,
Yeah.
that maybe we could...
The language that you used last time on, regarding the flipping,
Yeah.
it was, the Planning and Zoning Commission voted to approve the application seeking a re-subdivision, according with section blah, blah, Wethersfield Zoning Regulations for creation of 3 lots, with the understanding that the house on the northern lot identified as Lot 1
Right.
on the subdivision map will be flipped with the driveway to be located on the south side of the property, and then there were other,
South side of the house,
or
south side of the lot.
south side of the property, they were.
Okay.
well, the parking lot is going to be on the south side of the
Right.
property. Yeah,
So the house would be on the
North side.
correct.
north side line, right? That's, maybe we could add that, just to be clear.
The driveway and the parking lot will be located on the south side of the building,
Yeah.
with the north side against the, whatever you'll call it, property line, building line, setback line.
Yeah, the back of the house would be along the north side, which would be
Side yard.
it would be either 10-foot, 7-foot side yard, wherever he comes up with. That's how it would work.
That's specific.
Yep, okay. And the other conditions that were part of that approval have been done?
Addressed, except for the 4 that Derek said,
Okay, so the 10 feet has been conveyed to the town?
will be compared to the town.
Yeah, we have to include that again.
That's on the plan that he submitted.
Okay. All right.
That's on that plan.
Well, we can see it on yours, not on ours. Okay.
Yeah, so the only things that were none on that, were the four items that I double checked with Eric to make sure they were.
Okay. All right. Does anyone else have any comments or questions before we close the public hearing? All right, if not, is there a motion to close the hearing?
Motion to close.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right. Someone want to make a motion?
I'll try it.
Okay.
I motion that we approve the subdivision presented in this application. Was it 2162-23Z? With the original conditions plus 4 additional provisions or conditions provided by the town engineer, and with the additional stipulation that any building or disruption on the north side of Lot 1 is such that no long-term storage of equipment or holding of material will be within 10 foot of the north side property line. I think that's what we were saying, right?
Yep.
Yep.
That's the best we can do, right?
Yeah.
And the flipping of the house in the parking lot?
But isn't that part of the original condition? Do we want to restate that, just to?
Yeah, because that condition, that approval has lapsed.
Okay, you're right. Also, that for Lot 1, the location of the house will be flipped such that the house will be positioned along the north side boundary of the property, and the parking lot and driveway will be located to the south side of that first lot.
Okay.
Lot number 1.
Lot number 1, sorry. Yeah.
All right. Does anybody else have anything? All right. Tom?
Just one question. With regards to the memorandum that's called staff comments, that reiterated the 4 additional conditions that the town engineer had recommended. At the end of that, as I understood the presentation from our staff person there, he wanted to have a 5th condition, something approving the parking lot. So I think that needs to be included or stated as well, but I don't have the wording for that.
It is.
It is?
I was talking about the flipping.
Okay.
When my recommendation was to, if you go ahead and approve it with the engineer's 4 conditions plus
Plus the flipping.
plus the flipping.
Okay, so that's
That was the
included
5th.
now in the motion?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, good.
Thank you.
All right, anything else? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, thank you. Next item, 2164-23Z, TVI Inc., DBA Green Drop LLC, seeking a special permit in accordance with Section 53A13, accessory uses and structures, the Wethersfield Zoning Regulations for a mobile donation collection service at 1380 to 1430 Berlin Turnpike. Is there someone here on behalf of the applicant? Denied!
That'll get it back.
People that bring them in. I'm monitoring my daughter's progress.
Oh, is that guy in the front row? That should be too bad.
Oh,
I think he went out looking.
I think we scared him away.
That was him?
I think so, yeah.
Afraid
we're gonna ask for trees.
Turn the truck around.
Put the parking lot on the other side.
I can't, she's
We would like it inverted with the wheels on the top.
Absolutely, you never know.
3 in the morning.
Yeah, just blast away.
Yeah, and the traffic's it's in New York, it's
All right, we'll leave without you.
And, I go for work, even though it's back in New Haven.
The application number?
What do you do when you get to Boston?
For work.
Is there any other station?
Yeah, so it goes back there. And my client's in the Prudential Center Mall.
Yeah, that's a good.
So I get 2 sons, Mr. Green time, on the same, like, calls in the car, but you're not concentrating.
Thanks for waiting for me.
Drinking water.
I told you they didn't wait for you. Just tonight.
Thank you so much. Good evening, members of the board. My name is Ron D. I'm the Director of Real Estate for Green Drop. I have a couple of small handouts. Can I approach you guys and hand them out?
Sure.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Just 2 sheets.
Thank you very much.
Here you go, Tom. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Members of the board, Green Drop was founded in Pennsylvania in 2012 as a solution to unattended donation bins. As you may be familiar, there are a lot of unattended donation bins around the country that are messy. They're a nuisance. People donate clothing and other household goods from their home there. They overflow. They're unmaintained. Kids climb in them. They start fires. They're a significant nuisance around the country. We founded Green Drop to collect donations from area residents. We collect clothing and other household goods, anything less than 50 pounds that doesn't contain a liquid. These are employee-staffed donation mobile office trailers that are occupied and open 7 days a week from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. We have 63 of these located around the country in 9 states and Washington, D.C. 2 full-time uniformed employees, 7 days a week. We're open 363 days a year. We're closed on Thanksgiving. We're closed on Christmas. We locate in busy grocery store anchored shopping centers like Stop and Shop at Jordan Lane. These mobile office trailers are self-contained. They have a small gasoline-powered generator. They have an office. They have a restroom inside. We do not connect to any exterior utilities. They're brand new. They cost $130,000. They have their own HVAC on them to provide heating, ventilation, and air conditioning for our employees. Our employees are often retired policemen, firemen, veterans. One of the reasons for that is we're partnered with the American Red Cross. You have a letter in front of you that I handed out. The way our business model works out is the American Red Cross contracts with us to collect household goods on their behalf. When the goods are on the Green Drop mobile office trailer, they belong to the Red Cross until we buy them from them. We have a pre-negotiated price per 1,000 pounds of donated goods we collect. The average Green Drop, and I mentioned we have 63 of them around the country, collects 19,500 pounds of household goods per week. We generally draw from about a 5 to 10 minute radius around a shopping center. The number one attribute our donors tell us that's important to them for donating items is convenience. That's why we locate in busy household shopping centers, especially grocery store anchored shopping centers. You're on the way to the grocery store, you have a bag of clothing or a box of goods or books from your house that you want to get rid of. You're on the way to Stop and Shop, you pull in and you pull up parallel to the Green Drop mobile office trailer. Our donors do not get out of the car. They pull up parallel to the trailer. One of our uniformed employees greets them. They often know them because they're repeat donors. They say, "Good morning, Mr. Smith, how are you?" "I'm great, John. I have 2 bags of clothing in the trunk." You pop open the trunk. We take out the bags of clothing. We put them inside the Green Drop mobile office trailer. You can see on the photo I gave you, the back of the trailer is open. There's 300 square feet of storage back there behind the office and the restroom. We store it in there. Those 2 mobile bins you see in front of the wheels on the trailer are simply to move donated items from a donor's car or vehicle to the back of the green drop trailer. At nighttime and when we're closed, there's nothing left outside of this mobile office trailer. Nothing gets dropped off, and there's a reason for that. We have 6 internet-connected security cameras on the green drop mobile office trailer. They're monitored 24/7 by an outside company. If anything gets dropped off in the parking lot or near the trailer when we're closed, we send out a truck to pick it up immediately. How do we do that? Green Drop is owned by Savers, the thrift store company. We have a couple of Savers here in the Hartford area. Savers has 3 shifts working because we put 20,000 items on the floor of Savers every week. So all night long, there's somebody in Savers sorting through these donated items, putting them on hangers and pricing them. Anything gets dropped off, the store gets a call, we send out a 16-foot box truck, they pick up the item. We have a lot of national landlords that we do business with, the Simon Property Group, Kimco, Regency. The worst thing I can have is one of those landlords show up in the morning and there's something laying in the parking lot. It just doesn't happen. We've been in business since 2012. We've never been asked to leave a location by a landlord or a municipality. We actually have 6 municipalities that are our landlords where they've come and asked us to place a green drop mobile office trailer in the parking lot at City Hall or city-owned property. They've never asked us to leave a location. We sign 1-year leases with landlords, and we have a signed lease contingent upon zoning and permitting for this location with the landlord at Jordan Lane. We give every landlord a 30-day kick-out clause. If they don't like us in 30 days, they can send us a notification that says, Ron, you need to get out. It's never happened to us since 2012. We've opened these all the way from Boston to Honolulu. People find out that we're a community asset. They fall in love with the concept. It's a great alternative to a donation bin. We're also benefiting a national charity. Last year, the total, with about 50 of these locations open last year, we purchased over $5 million worth of donated goods from the American Red Cross. Obviously, they love the business model. They would like us to open as many green drops as possible. This particular location is being proposed to be located in the front right-hand corner of the parking lot at Jordan Lane. When you pull it off the road into the main shopping center, it would be in that front right-hand corner, visible to the street, but away from the main parking lot. It's actually across the drive aisle from the Stop and Shop parking lot. Again, open from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., 7 days a week, 2 full-time uniformed employees. About 60% of what gets donated is clothing. The rest of it is anything in your house, books, decor, small pieces of furniture. We limit the donated items to 50 pounds. The reason for that is we don't want our employees lifting anything heavy. They don't have any equipment. We don't use dollies or hand trucks or anything like that. Most of what we get is in plastic bags and boxes. The plastic bags and boxes don't even get opened until they get to the Savers store. So once it gets into the back of the Savers store, we have large white laminated tables, the bags and boxes get opened, and that's where the sorting gets done. So any trash that gets generated by our employees is taken with us. There are no trash bins here on site. There's no external dumpster. There's nothing like that. It's kind of a drop-off takeout. We maintain very, very clean operated business, and that's who we are. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I mean, geez.
Yes, sir.
How often, okay, this is stationary. How often do you have a set of mobile trucks so that when you get 180 square feet filled, you make a phone call and someone comes and gets it, or is it?
Yeah, because we have the Savers stores in the market, each one of the Savers stores has at least one 16-foot box truck. If the green drop trailer gets full, we call the store, the truck comes over immediately. Normally, we can schedule it, and they'll come over early in the morning between 8 and 9 a.m. The 2 full-time employees and the truck driver will manually take the donations out of the back of the green drop mobile office trailer, put it in the 16-foot box truck, and then it goes directly to the Savers store.
And then at the Savers store, that's where they're broken apart and just...
That's correct. It's all sorted in the Savers store. Every one of the Savers stores has a dumpster and a compactor. Obviously, we go through everything that's been donated item by item. Some of the items get donated or not saleable, they're trash, and then they go in the dumpster. You'll also know if you've ever been to a thrift store, when you go thrifting, you don't want to see the same thing in the store every time you go back. So the items that go on the racks are only on the rack for 7 days. They're date tagged. If it doesn't sell in 7 days, we take it out of the store and we put it in a 53-foot tractor trailer, and it gets sold wholesale. The wholesale business for thrifting is very significant. We can sell as many 53-foot tractor trailers full of unsold thrift product as we can generate.
So the products are sold by Savers and the money's given to Blue Cross or the...
Yeah, so the way we generate revenue in order to pay the Red Cross for the donated products is through the money that we sell at the Savers thrift stores. Savers is a public company. They actually are a 70-year-old company. We have 330 thrift stores in the United States, Canada, and Australia. Last year, Savers did about $1.5 billion in sales. They generated for partner charities like the Red Cross over $600 million last year.
Last question, how many of these trailers are in the state of Connecticut?
This will be the first one. Yeah, I just started looking recently. I actually live in Brewster, Massachusetts in Cape Cod, and I just started looking in the Hartford area for these locations recently. Yes, sir.
This would be serviced, and when I hear the tie to the Savers store, this would be serviced by the Savers store in Newington?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. A lot of people ask about the restroom. We get great employees, and the reason for that is we have a heated, air-conditioned office for employees. The restroom gets serviced by a local contractor that does these kinds of, service. They service all kinds of self-contained restrooms and porta potties, etc.
Dominic, the number of parking spaces taken by this, I'm sure you've worked out the numbers, that shouldn't probably be a problem for this size parking lot, is that correct?
That's correct. The trailer is 43 feet long, so it fits very comfortably on 5 parking spaces. The shopping center is currently overparked, and we're not putting the shopping center in any kind of variance situation. The other nice thing about the trailer is it's 8.5 feet wide, so a typical parking space these days is 18 feet deep. It fits on the back half of the parking spaces, and therefore the donors, when they drop off, are not blocking the circulation within the shopping center.
How about the traffic flow through that corner?
That particular corner is very, very quiet. In fact, it was just repaved by the landlord, and it's you can see it's barely used. It's a very, very unfrequently used area because it's the furthest corner away from any of the stores. Yes, sir.
Would your organization care that this is not a Stop and Shop, but it's a ShopRite?
It's a Stop and Shop.
We're talking...
Berlin Turnpike and not Silas Deane.
I understand, okay. Because Jordan and Berlin Turnpike...
Yes.
Okay, my bad.
No problem.
This entire time, I've been thinking Silas Deane. I'm sorry.
That's okay, no worries.
It's across from the graveyard.
Stop and Shop, no one's right.
The answer to your question is no. We actually just opened in front of a shop right in...
I'm looking at Jordan Lane, and I'm looking at where that is, I'm like, okay.
We just opened up in front of a shop right in Brookhaven, Pennsylvania.
Go ahead and catch right up, I'm good.
No worries.
Flip the town for you.
Right, can we switch the parking lot and, yes, everything else?
The macro answer is the grocery store brand doesn't matter. We're not partnered with the grocery stores.
Yeah,
It
my
used to be
bad.
where the movie theater was.
Yeah, Tom.
Yeah, I had a couple of questions for the applicant.
Yes.
One is, with the donated material, particularly clothing, that may not be fit for, resale or consumption.
Yes.
Sort of in rag conditions.
Yes.
Do you sell them as rags or sell them to, like paper manufacturing companies and
We do.
that sort of thing?
It sounds like there's a huge rag business in the United States, and we do partner with them, and we sell unused clothing, unsaleable clothing as rags. What we're not able to sell, we actually recycle. There's a recycling market for that as well.
Okay, and secondly, do any of the donated goods through this actually get exported to undeveloped countries or impoverished countries such as in Africa, East Asia?
Yes, so as I mentioned, the product that doesn't sell in 7 days at the Savers stores gets put in a 53-foot tractor trailer truck, and there's an enormous wholesale market for thrift, and we have wholesalers that buy these trucks. It gets shipped to Pakistan, India, South America. It gets shipped all over the world. Once we sell the trailers full of unsold thrift to these wholesalers, we don't know where it goes, but it goes overseas. So
that's how an old Yukon sweatshirt can wind up in Namibia or something.
that is correct. There are thousands of Buffalo Bills Super Bowl championship shirts around the world, all over the place.
Yeah, a lot of Buffalo Bills were
Yeah, all over the world, that's correct. Yeah, those stories are actually very true.
Could you just describe a little better your association with the American Red Cross? I mean, does money exchange hands here? Do they make money from this? How does that work? I mean, it's kind of vague here, and I've read your letter and your description.
Sure.
I'm curious how the economics of this work out for the American Red Cross.
Sure. So the American Red Cross came to Green Drop and contracts with us to collect donations on their behalf. So we have a physical location to collect donations on behalf of the Red Cross. Everything that's sitting on that Green Drop trailer belongs to the Red Cross until we buy it from them. We weigh it, we have a pre-negotiated price per 1,000 pounds that we pay them. Every month, they get a check. The Red Cross actually gets a check from us every single month, and that money stays local in the community that donations were made in. I don't know if you know this is very interesting. I found this out when I started working for the company about 3 years ago. The largest number of activities and transactions that the Red Cross provides in support are home fires. You have a home fire, they come to your house, they say, do you need clothing, do you need a place to live, do you need food, what do you need? That's what they do all day long most days. But to answer your question specifically, we literally buy everything that goes on that Green Drop trailer from the Red Cross, and they get paid every month. They get a check every month from us.
Okay.
Last year, that was over $5 million.
But, I understand. That's not the case with Savers though, right?
No, Savers is a for-profit business, so we are contracted by the Red Cross to operate Green Drop. We buy the product from the Red Cross, and then Green Drop, which is owned by Savers, takes the product to Savers and we sell it. Savers is a for-profit company.
So Savers is the distribution point for what's collected.
That's correct.
So instead of leasing a storefront or putting extra overhead on the Red Cross, this whole ecosystem kind of takes care of itself.
That's correct. And just to be clear, Savers is a for-profit thrift store.
Right.
Yeah.
One other question. What is the tax benefit to the town? Do you pay taxes to the town?
Through the rent we pay. So we have a lease with the landlord. We're paying the landlord to rent those parking spaces for the year. We're paying him a certain amount of rent. That rent includes real estate taxes and common area maintenance.
The trailer is not going to be registered in Wethersfield.
The trailer is registered in the state of Connecticut as a registered motor vehicle. That way, if anything needs to be serviced on this trailer, if it needs to be repaired, we can bring in another trailer, hook this up to a dually pickup truck, and pull it to a maintenance yard, get it repaired, and bring it back later. So it will always have a license plate on it.
Is there any
But
concern
you're not
about the
paying for the
reduction
trailer
of spaces?
on our tax roll, right?
If you have a motor vehicle tax, we would have to pay that. Yes. Yes, we would pay that motor vehicle tax in the town, yes.
Okay.
It'd be property tax.
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay.
And what were the operating hours again?
9 a.m. to 6 p.m., 7 days a week, 363 days a year. We're closed on Christmas and Thanksgiving. We have just to let everybody know, we have a 1-year lease that automatically renews with the landlord. So when you give us permission to open, we'll open, and then that lease will go for 1 year. If everybody's happy, if the town's happy, if the landlord is happy, that will auto-renew for another year. But the landlord does have a 30-day kick-out clause. If they don't like us for any reason whatsoever, they can send me a note and say, Ron, you need to leave, and we'll leave within a few days.
You collect blood?
What's that?
If necessary.
That's right.
That'll be next year.
Yeah.
Signage?
The signage is what you see, only on the trailer. You see that one A-frame sign in the picture? That's just for directional signage for the donors on how to, pull up next to the trailer. There's no other signage. We won't have any signage on the road or the pylon sign or anything. It's just, the trailer is 43 feet long and 10 feet high, so what's on there is more than enough.
This podium is for people making speeches about the...
That's correct.
donations or-
For guests. One funny thing about that is I've been managing real estate development for 35 years. I did a lot of restaurants and retail stores. As the years went by, it got harder to get people to show up to do ribbon cutting ceremonies on a grand opening. When we open these, I'll get 20, 30 people from City Hall showing up because they wanted their picture taken in front of the Green Charitable Initiative.
Maybe they were just going to the wrong grocery store.
Could be. They went to ShopRite.
In your other states or other locations where you have these, when you approached boards like us, have any of the boards put any time limit on you guys? I mean, you mentioned that the owner can tell you after a year, I don't want you here within 30 days.
Yes.
But have conditions been put on you by the boards that you do this for a year, come back to us and see how it operates. If we're happy, as well as the
Yes.
owner is happy, then you go on. Otherwise, we have a, condition that maybe we don't want to do regardless of what the owner wants.
Yeah, in fact, I believe your ordinance has a time limit on it. I think this is a 2-year permit or a 3-year permit. It does have a time limit on it.
I don't think so.
Well, I mean, if the regulations have something, it's a unenforceable provision regarding the completion of construction.
Okay. Yes, we have agreed to conditional use permits, temporary use permits.
In other locations.
Yeah, that's correct.
All right,
Yeah,
very good.
yeah.
All right. Is there anybody in the public that wants to comment on this application?
Just one question about the electrical.
Could you come up and identify yourself, please?
Yeah, who are you, sir?
It's been like a
Are you an
month.
electrician?
Who is that guy? Didn't he used to be something?
Retired Deputy Mayor, Tom Mazzarella, 600 Walker Hill Road. Going into the electrical business. Now, I was curious about the electrical generator that you mentioned, so I was having trouble understanding why you wouldn't connect to the utility.
So we have a gasoline power generator on there that we run. It's obviously expensive to run with gasoline prices being as significant as they are. We will open for a few months, and if the location is doing very, very well, what we would likely do is ask the landlord if there was a point of connection for electric. We would come in and get a necessary electrical permit and connect the trailer to electric. I was out there with an electrician the other day, and there isn't a convenient point of connection in that location in the parking lot as of yet.
Thank you.
But yes, we have connected trailers to electric in the past.
And the generator is within the,
Yeah, the generator, if you look at that photo, it's in that gooseneck that you see where it says clothing, shoes, household items. It's on the other side, and there's a door there, so it's insulated and quiet. It doesn't make any, you can't hear it from outside of the unit. About the size of a lawnmower engine.
All right, anybody else in the public? Do we have any other questions for the applicant? If not, does someone want to make a motion to close the hearing?
make a motion to close the hearing.
Second?
Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Someone want to make a motion on the application?
I just want to make it clear what you're actually acting on. This is a permit, this is a use that's nowhere mentioned in the zoning regulations, and I'm sure we're not the only ones that never.
That's correct.
So what he's coming in for is, you have the authority to, under the section 5.38.13, to approve other accessory uses. And that's what the application is. So you would be approving this as a permitted use, as a permitted accessory use that's not recognized by the board. So you're legitimatizing this use through our zoning regulations. And in that, I would suggest that we include that the fire marshal and the building official review this before it's not it's a mobile situation, so they should get to review it, and I think it's worthwhile that the board put that condition on it. We did send this out to both of them. I hadn't heard anything from either one of them yet. But I'd like to include that. As far as the other things that are in there that I put in, I did go out and really check the site, and everything he said about where it's going is correct. It is far removed from the building, and I can't see people parking there at all, to be quite honest. And I was just concerned about the signage, and if that's the only signage that's going to be there, that's fine.
Yep.
Dominic, can you explain to me this accessory use condition you just talked about? Does the accessory use have to be related to the other uses in the, this is what's bothering me about this. I mean, it doesn't really fit any of the businesses that are there. Isn't that what the regulations really mean? It's got to be an accessory to the
some-
operations that are there, right?
That's true, and I tossed that over too, and I did talk to the zoning enforcement officers a couple times to see how, they operate, because there are bins, there are storage bins all over.
Yep. Can I mention one thing about that? Up until we made this agreement with the landlord, there were unattended donation bins in this location.
But to answer your question further, that, with the zoning enforcement officer informed me, the way we treat the bins in the town is that under the same section of the zoning regulations, the accessory uses, it reads exterior vending machines or deposit boxes.
Oh,
And that's
okay.
what he, so these kind of uses, are allowed in this kind of zone. So
Okay.
that's why, that's how I reconciled it in my mind as far as.
And it's even a level up because it's manned.
Right, right. And it's accessory to the shopping center.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the philosophical question is, is it accessory, meaning that it's customary and subordinate to the principal
Right.
use?
Right.
Well, it may not be customary, but it's definitely subordinate. And, we've allowed hot dog vendors as, an accessory use to a vacant lot. So I don't know that we've, driven ourselves crazy trying to sort through that. But I think, the fact that it is covered by the regulations, gives some support to this.
So, I mean, theoretically, they could make the same operation happen in one of these vacant stores that's on the map here, right? It just happens to be parked outside. So it's not, precedent, so this is really different, right? Because as I was reading through this, I was like, it's this, but it's not that.
It's a new version of a Salvation Army bin.
What does it,
That's what I'm saying is.
what does it open other issues for? Or is this a Pandora's box to other things?
Zoning was made for that. Because once you start regulating some things, something that you never expected comes in under that. I don't know, it could be really a retail operation like that, where they come in for 6 months and retail, and they want to go on the church property or, something like that. Does this? No. I would say what you're doing tonight is more in line of, it's accessory to the shopping center. And so if they want to go someplace else, that doesn't mean that they can go in just in that place. You're not saying that, you're being more restrictive than if you zoned it, because you're only acting on it on this property.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess to kind of follow up on that, and to Paul's point is, when you're doing it as a special permit, it's kind of insulated from being a binding precedent on a different site.
That's what,
So if
yeah,
somebody
okay.
wants to put this where Ryan initially thought it was going,
Right?
we would have to look at that site, we would have to look at where it was gonna go in that site, we would have to look at, the compatibility of the circulation,
Okay,
the
the whole
location.
government stuff, okay, all right,
Yeah.
that's what I was just concerned, or, I like this, right? I mean, what if it was something that maybe wasn't appealable to the community?
But this is a donation center and has no currency exchange or retail done within it, which automatically makes, like I said, it's a new version of a Salvation Army deposit box.
Right, and it is designed in a certain way that it eliminates some of the problems that have been associated with the, throw your stuff in the box, or next to the box, or behind the box.
I like it, I mean, if you step back and look at it, right, it creates some jobs, it helps the Red Cross in the community, it's an underutilized parking lot, right, and we're giving it a temporary trial, right, it's not in perpetuity.
Well, if we put that condition on it.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I also like it but I think we really have to put some sort of time limit on it, because we just don't know.
Right, that's what I'm saying, what if people don't like it? Like, what if the community doesn't
Yeah,
like
what if the
it?
community is up in arms over this? We really need to hear about it at some point in the future.
Well, the generator, I assume the building inspector will deal with the noise generation for the housing units
Sure.
that are on the other side of the shopping center.
Yeah, just want to, I was required to send out public notification letters here too. I sent out 190 letters last week to surrounding neighbors, so,
Not the ones across the street, though.
not the dead ones.
That was a good advertisement, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it was good advertisement, yeah. I did have to do all the envelopes and the labels myself. That was a little tedious. but-
You got a sponge?
I bought the sticker ones, so.
I just have a quick question on, when I drive home, I drive through Newington, and right by the campus of Central Connecticut State College, there's a mobile station there. And at the mobile station, there was a similar operation going on. Do you know who?
Not familiar with them.
I noticed it because the light is there, and I saw this thing. And I never saw anything like that before. And about 3 weeks later, before you made the application, they were gone. And
Not us, don't know who it was.
That's a somebody else.
lot though, isn't it?
That's small.
Yeah, that was very small. It's just
Very
on the-
small.
On the,
Yeah, we would never go in a location like that.
it was a yellow, basically a yellow,
A yellow bin or trailer.
yellow drop, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's being.
And then I'm opening up about 4 of these in the Buffalo market right now, and Goodwill currently just puts out a 53-foot tractor trailer truck with like a wooden stair, and they use that, but this is a little bit more sophisticated.
But that one was pretty sophisticated, but it was sophisticated enough that they got out of there.
The green bins go inside, right? You don't leave them outside.
No, we put them inside at night. Nothing gets left outside at night.
After 5 o'clock, right?
After 6 o'clock, everything gets locked inside the trailer. Nothing gets left outside.
See, you did a little Google, you got some northeast, but a little bit further south, like, any issues with, like, heavy snowstorms, and, like, do you guys have to move your stuff around in order for?
No, there's always an agreement in our lease that we are required to clear the snow within 10 feet of our trailer by ourselves, because the landlords don't want the responsibility of having their plows get close to this. So in our lease, it says we will keep 10 feet clear around the trailer in case there's a snowstorm or anything else.
Nice, thank you.
Yep.
I think it's a great model, but you did say how many, there's cameras all around it?
We have 6 internet-connected security cameras on the trailer itself. There's actually 4 on the outside,
Yeah.
and 2 on the inside of the trailer, just in case somebody were to break
So if
in.
anybody goes to break in, it automatically.
Then we get a phone call immediately. It's an outside service company that monitors it 24/7, and they will call us immediately if anything happens. If anything gets dropped off in the parking lot or anybody breaks in, we get a phone call.
Those condos get hit a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Parking lots, I sold a couple condos there, and that parking lot is always getting hit.
Oh, yeah. Yep. No, we've got great security. In fact, a lot of my landlords call me a few months later and they go, "Hey, Ron, you're paying me rent and I've got 2 full-time security guards during the day and you've got cameras on at night. I feel like, this is too good to be true." We're giving them free security.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, anybody else? All right, want to try again to close the public hearing?
So moved.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Someone want to make a motion on the application?
I'll make a motion.
Okay. Please do.
I haven't done one. Make a motion on 216423Z TVI Inc. doing business as Green Drop LLC to approve a special permit in accordance with Section 5.3.A.13 accessory uses and structure of the Wethersfield Zoning Regulations for a 12-month period, and as long as there's compliance with inspection and requirements by the town engineers and fire marshal's office.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Tom, did you have another fire marshal, town engineer, you had someone else, right? Who else did you?
Building department.
Building
Building
department,
department,
maybe
yes.
add building department to that.
I said town engineer.
You said town stuff.
Engineer.
Yeah, engineers signed off on it already.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he said it was fine. The building department maybe needs to look at it too.
Yeah, it's the building department and the fire marshal.
Right.
Okay.
We usually have the fire marshal come inspect the fire extinguisher to make sure that it's been serviced, and that's what happens.
Okay. So that's the stipulation, is that it's the fire marshal and the building department? Okay. All right, anything else from anybody? Okay. If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I want to thank you for coming finding me in the hallway, too. Thank you so much. Have a great night. Happy Thanksgiving.
Take care. Thank you. Other business, we have nothing. Minutes from November 8th. Just so that everybody's aware, there was a shortcoming with the recording, so Dominic basically created these minutes from memory. They generally look accurate, other than you left out the part about never saying anything bad about Ansonia.
I got bumper approach.
Take that was
Go on record against it, so.
You want to be on record with that, that's for sure. And you're not even putting it.
For the record.
For the record, I am against
That's right.
Ansonia.
I mean, if you want to amend this.
No, yeah, we can let that one lie. Does anybody want to make a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes, except I have to abstain because I wasn't there.
Well, you can vote even if you weren't here,
Oh,
because I don't think we'll have enough people to
Then
approve
second.
them otherwise.
In that case, second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Abstain.
All right. Thanks. Staff report.
We have 5 members signed up for the training session on December 9th. Tom, George, Peter, Anthony, and Joe.
That's remote, right?
Oh, what's that?
Is that remote?
No.
I would also like to emphasize my appreciation to the staff at the planning office for making those arrangements. I think they were on top of it, particularly since we were excluded from attending the October 29th or 25th, something like that, training. And this came up and they acted on it quite quickly for those of us that were interested. So I appreciate the efforts of the staff on part of this.
I had a quick question. Is this like the, I guess, the state or the AA points? When we get the certificates for the virtual versions, we submit them to you? Who's inventorying everything? Because I attended one the other night that I will get a certificate from the group, and then I said to myself, who do I turn it into?
Which one was that, the RPA?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we should probably have Lynn
That's good.
coordinate that.
Yeah,
Because what we do every year is we collect all our certificates, and then certain ones are put in, like when we take a certain thing that has AA approval, sometimes it's submitted to them from the person who presented it, and we don't get a piece of paper, but other ones, we have to take a piece of paper and submit all the PDFs to the state of Connecticut.
That's a good idea. I mean, any certificates that you have, you know, bring them in or give us a copy, or we'll make a copy for you, and we'll just keep them in the file, just in case, you know, that ever comes up, like for a court case or something like that, or whatever. It'll be registered with the town planning office.
Yeah, I mean, and you can also self-report. I mean, if you've watched one of the videos or something like that, you can just say, you know, watched this video for 1.5 hours on fair and affordable housing, because the town does have to report to the state by, I think it's like March 31st to, whether or not we've complied.
But the town is the one who will do the submitting, not us.
Correct, yes. Yeah, but if you have watched the videos or gone to conferences, let Lynn or Don know so that they can keep track for us.
I think we get a certificate every time we go to that dinner event, right? We get one
Yes.
unit. So I got a couple of those. Should I just send them to
Yeah.
Just send them-
Lynn or you?
Yeah.
And if they have like ZD stains on them, if you know that they're legitimate.
It's authentic.
I'll Photoshop that out. PDF.
No, that's the watermark.
Right.
The other thing I have is, I did check into, I forgot who mentioned it, I think it was Peter, about the curb across from the Charles not being up to handicap standards. So I checked with Derek, the engineer, and that's on the list.
Good.
So that's gonna be.
You're gonna have some happy builders, young mothers with babies.
So that's gonna be addressed,
Perfect.
definitely. And then
The kids will be in high school by then.
Well, that's right. Then I looked into the Willard Street, the Willard Community Center, the parking of those, the electrical vehicles, maintenance, the tree cutters. They've been parking there for a couple of years now, as I understand it. So Derek didn't know anything about it, and I talked to Fred today about it. And I'm gonna get a hold of the DPW person and see if if they've given any kind of approval to park there. If not, then we'll get on that to have those occupied. So those were the two items I think were left over from that we were asked to look into. And the third thing, and I spoke to the chairman about this, I'm not going to be available on December 19th for the December 19th meeting. Any other night I'll be available, but, so we'll just play that out and see what's going on. We'll see. Plus, you're getting close to Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, we've got one hearing that's continued till mid-January, so we don't have to worry about this one. The other one's continued till December 5th, assuming they, get what they need by then, we can dispose of it that night. So, I don't know what you have in the pipeline, if anything, but I think, frankly, anything that comes in the next 2 weeks, you would have flexibility to say, we'll hear you the first meeting in January, just so that, because you're probably not the only person that would rather be somewhere else
Oh, yeah.
5 days before Christmas than here, so.
No. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. Anybody else have anything?
I just have one question. I was absent at the last meeting, one of my few absences, but I had notified the planning office of my illness and that I wouldn't be able to attend. But I understand that there was, that word didn't come to the attention of the commission for that meeting. So I was wondering, what is the protocol for notifying, providing proper notification for an absence that you know you won't be able to attend?
I had 4 people contact our office that they would not be present tonight. So I meant to tell you before the meeting started, but I don't know what your normal protocol is.
Well, that's kind of what I'm asking, because, I did talk to staff within the planning office. I phoned in the day before, but apparently the word wasn't passed to anyone,
That
so.
was me. I apologize. I should have informed him.
So you just email Lynn, then?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
How
so,
would you like me to handle that?
yeah, I mean, people can email me, Lynn,
Yeah,
anyone. I mean, I get text messages, I get emails, sometimes staff is copied. If they're not, I pass the message along. Frankly, I think we've never been particular about excused versus unexcused absences and have, unless somebody has just been AWOL for their entire 3-year term, we've assumed that, something came up or there was an illness or a business
Now, I've
conflict.
noticed, that there's never really been a problem for the commission, but I was just, curious, because I did have a member of the commission contact me, after the meeting. Basically, I was flattered they checked on me, that since I didn't have anyone else to notify that I was sick, and I came close to being hospitalized, so.
All right. Well, I'm glad you're here.
Well, we've had it before where when people were, like I said, canceling out, Denise sent something out, who's attending, to make sure we had a quorum.
Yeah, I mean,
That was my primary concern is, that we do have a quorum to operate.
And 24 hours notice before the meeting would be nice if that could be done, but.
Yeah, we got these notices, and I saw that there, and that's, again, it's my duty. I don't know how it's normally handled, but I can tell you, if we got too many notices, I would have been on the phone right away.
Yeah, I mean, particularly since the bylaws say we need 5 affirmative votes, even if we have the bare quorum, everybody's got to be in favor of it, which is, why one of those 2 was continued from last time, just kind of as a, you don't want us acting on this tonight.
It's 6 at the last meeting.
Yeah, I mean, 6 is good because, you got a little bit of a cushion, but if it's a controversial application, I think, we'd open the hearing and continue it on the hope that there would be more people at the next one. All right. Yeah, with that, I guess, someone want to make a motion to adjourn and say happy Thanksgiving?
So moved.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
All in favor?
Second happy Thanksgiving. Aye.
I second, but only the happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, John.